this lockdown, I have spent more time in the Psalms hearing men like Moses and David cry out to God for guidance, understanding, and protection. As we wrap up our first official week of the great COVID lockdown, I hope you've seen a theme developing over the last 5 days. God does not give us a spirit of fear, but He gives us help for today and a hope for the future. King David truly sums this up in the 27th Psalm. Look at verse 1. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Fear can truly be a dark force in our lives that can debilitate and even imprison us. We've all been there, but we can conquer fear by the bright light of God who brings us salvation. David understood this prison of fear because he lived it for a season or two. He also remembered that God's light dispels fear, the darkness of fear. This is why he spoke of the confidence in verse 3. Look at verse 3 at the end. Even then I will be confident. One thing I ask from the Lord, this only do I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze on the beauty of the Lord and to seek Him in His temple. For in the day of trouble He will keep me safe in His dwelling. He will hide me in the shelter of His sacred tent and set me high upon a rock. Do you see what God tells us there? Instead of living in the stronghold of fear, we can live in the Lord, who is our stronghold. David was confident that the one thing he asked, the only thing he sought, was to dwell in God's house all the days of his life and to gaze upon God's beauty and to seek Him in His temple. Now here's the beauty of that promise God gives us. In the times of trouble, much like the times we face right now, He promises that He will keep us safe in His dwelling. He will give us shelter, and He will set us high upon a rock. Folks, God is that rock for those who trust in Him. David talks about the safety net God provided for those who believe, and in verse 13 he speaks to us a punctuation point for this week. I remain confident of this. I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord. Brothers and sisters, this is a day that you can have confidence in seeing God's goodness here on earth. And I love what David tells us to do. He says, wait for God. Now, waiting is very hard for some people. The last few weeks you may feel God isn't hearing you or He isn't answering your prayers fast enough. But I encourage you, put the control back in His hands, because God is worth waiting for. He calls us to wait on Him so He may deliver times of renewal and refreshment. My prayer for you during this time is this. May God's bright light that brings you salvation give you help now and a hope for the future. May your unwavering confidence in God be your antidote for fear. And may God hold you tight to His chest and be your protection, your shelter, and your rock. God bless you, and we'll see you Sunday at 10:45 for our church service livecast. God bless you. Love you.